listening to the Beer Craft Home Brewing Podcast. Tune in every Wednesday night at 6:30 Pacific for a dose of beer and brewing banter with your hosts, Ben Holm and Andrew Ziegler.
So hop aboard for a little wit and wisdom in the Pacific Northwest, because it's always Beer 30 on The Beer Craft.
Welcome back to the Beer Craft Home Brewing Podcast. I'm Ben, and with me as always is Andrew.
There we are.
How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, you know, we live in a world that treats esters and phenols like a dirty word. I mean, the most popular yeast strains on both ales and lagers are squeaky clean. Of course, we're talking about 1056 or Safale SL5. Yeah, all those guys. And, of course, TUM 3470, which is also like Weinsteffen 2124 from Weiss. All those are squeaky clean yeast. No esters, no phenols. And it's no wonder we start to think, it's no wonder we have all sorts of scary negative feelings about esters and phenols. But there are beers out there, particularly in Belgium,
that need them.
Oh my God, you can't do without them.
No.
We're deliberately pushing the envelope every day with every batch.
This is dangerous.
For a truly remarkable set of beers.
Nice. Okay.
So tonight we're gonna unpack a little bit of Belgian beer nerdery,
right?
And
how we get there.
And so kind of a primer for Belgian beers.
So we're not afraid of it anymore.
Yeah, no, we should embrace the craziness of the Belgian beers. But before we do any of that,
you know what time it is.
It is my favorite time of every single Wednesday evening.
Hell yeah.
It is Beer 30. Andrew, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm doing really good, Ben. How about you?
I'm doing all right. We had a good class today at the shop, so taught some new brewers a couple of new tricks.
All right, on.
And that's always fun. You know, I end up talking about beer for 5 hours, and boy, my lips are tired.
Yeah,
and thirsty
too.
They
don't sound tired to me.
So I brought.
So what'd you get?
I brought the best beer in the world.
All right.
So this comes to us from Belgium. It is the Delirium Tremens by Huig Brewing.
This is elected.
In Belgium. It is elected, and I looked it up. And in 1998, they took like World Beer Cup best beer, best in show. In 1998, they've been mentioned in several storied pieces of literature. They've won multiple competitions with this beer. It is a golden strong ale, Belgian golden strong. That is category, that's 25C if you're into the BJCP. Yep. And this is a fantastic beer. It's the cool. Y'all can't see it. It's a pretty periwinkle blue can with a pink elephant on it. This thing is clocking in at. What is the
Reminds
percent?
me of Dumbo.
Yeah, well, like Dumbo, you drink too much of this and you're going to see pink elephants. ABV, it is on here somewhere, 8.5%. So we've got a pint for a pint for each of us. So we'll see how many pink elephants we need to count tonight at the end of this hour. But here we go. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
Can you see?
I can.
Here, I brought you
an emergency absorbency device.
That's a fine utensil right there.
It's a fine utensil, and I'm pouring far too gently for my own taste. I like a good head on that.
You like foam?
I like foam.
Mustache.
I like foam in my mustache.
You do.
It's pretty good. I want those aromatics straight up my nose with every sip.
Good.
That is. Oh man, you can smell this from across the room. Oh boy, that is a heavenly aroma. Y'all can't see this. You can't smell this. We don't smell-o-vision on the podcast. That's tasty.
Did you hear that? I just told you to look at me smelling.
Yeah, I caught that. I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want to make you feel foolish. I get like a pronounced ester bubblegummy kind of beautifulness here.
Brand new
coaster. Look at that.
Brand new coaster.
Let's not mark the table.
From Skagit Valley Malting. It's actually not new. It's really old. But it appears to be new, yeah. Pretty close. It's really good. Carbonated light.
That is really, it's very effervescent. But boy, howdy, that's got beautiful kind of like honeysuckle, bubble gum. a little spice character.
There's no bitter to it.
None like this. Oh, I just have to drink another real quick.
There's really no sweetness to it either.
I mean, it's a little sweet perceptively up front, but it gets the hell out of the way.
Yeah, the alcohol.
And
you taste the alcohol.
You just want another damn sip. Yeah,
good.
You can taste the 8.5%.
And it does get right out of the way.
Yeah. Leaves you wanting more.
Yes.
For sure. Man, so I got this today at Hagen's in Burlington, and a big shout out to Kelsey who helped me find it. It was the only Belgian on the shelf today. It happens to be the best beer in the world.
Elected.
And it says it right on the can, so you know it has to be true.
I want to know who really elected it.
Well, I did a little digging on that.
Did you?
And let me pull that up here. Let's log back in.
Were you doing research while I was doing?
I was. Well, you were faffing about with the pushing of the buttons.
Yeah.
I was looking. I'm like, who elected the best beer? So, this won the World Beer Championships in Chicago in 1988. It was ranked number 1 in Stuart Callan's book, The World's 50 Best Beers. Let's see. They also, they've won a lot in 1988. Cited for the best beer in the world in '98. Subsequent years, it would include gold medal at the 2021 World Beer Awards. They've been hitting it out of the park with this beer for a while. Interesting thing, we've actually had some of Huig Brewing's other Delirium series here on the show. Huig, yeah. I can't remember which episode we had it, but we had one of their Delirium series. We got a bomber from, and that was pretty exciting. It also had the Pink Elephant on there, but it was they have a couple of different.
I remember that one.
They got 5 or 6 beers in the Delirium series, and we got to use number 3 or something.
They'll do like the cage cork.
Yeah.
Yep,
so that was a very tasty beer. That Pink Elephant, you gotta love a Pink Elephant logo for fucking beer. That's great stuff. They're nailing it on that. Interesting to note, Delirium Tremens, the name of the beer, was banned in the U.S. marketplace for years. It was a little too on the nose, as it were, for a strong beer to be called a Delirium Tremens. Because if you're suffering from a Delirium Tremens, I apologize. It's a rough spot, and here I am talking about beer. I'm going to top this thing off. Jesus, it's good. It is almost like in the lighting conditions of the studio, it's almost like a day glow yellow from the light behind it, but it's a very pale example. I mean, like gold.
It is. It's really nice. Golden
strong,
color.
but like it's
a perfectly
definitely on the
golden
yellow.
strong.
Jesus.
I'm trying to look up the brewery, see how old they are.
They've been at it for a minute. But I thought it was an appropriate beer to bring onto the podcast today, and as we kind of go over kind of like what is setting Belgian beers apart from the competition.
Right.
If we think about some of like the popular Northern Hemisphere brewing cultures, England, we've got Germany, of course, America's got its own beer culture. But you look at kind of like what are the stars of the show for German beers, and I think malt is going to be the obvious answer. Letting the grains be the star of the show. Hell, they wrote a silly little law in 1516.
I mean,
about
the Doppelbock explains it all,
right? Malt is king for German tradition beers,
and then Belgian is going to be king of the esters.
Well, yeah, it's all about the yeast for the Belgians. Just over the border in Belgium, they were obsessed with yeast. Of course, we get in the UK scene, they're obsessed with hops, and we borrow a lot of that tradition here in the States, being completely obsessed with the genus of hops and their applications in beer.
I was reading here, and I just found out that this brewery actually goes back in history almost to Reinheitsgebot.
Well, let their
almost.
Yeah, and
1654.
They're 300 miles away from Munich there, and they say sucks to your Reinheitsgebot, but who cares?
1654. There's been brewing activity ever since. So that's pretty cool. I wonder how long this beer has been around.
That's a good question. Hey Google, ask the Google.
Ask the Google.
We're gonna ask the Google.
No, don't ask your watch.
Yeah. My watch goes by a different name. It's usually son of a bitch.
Yeah, it doesn't tell me much on here, anyways. I could probably ask. I could ask the AI.
That is a flippin' tasty ass beer, though. Jesus,
it is very good.
It's the ester and phenol profiles. They're not screaming. They're not hitting you over the head.
It's not like the same old Belgian ale that you're gonna think of. It's not gonna have that clove or some of that other.
Yeah, the spice profile
esters.
is like really subtle. I mean, it's almost like generic spice kind of.
Right.
Like it's not cinnamon, it's not nutmeg, it's
and
not
you don't have
allspice.
some of that fruitiness that comes with
But it's got enough of it. It's in there, but
you
it's not
can
beating.
taste it.
It's not beating you over the head.
Right.
It's freaking balanced.
What's a Belgian Golden Strong?
So Belgian Golden Strong Ale, if we look on the BJCP, that is what I say, style 25. Oh shit! I just dropped the website. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Backward. Go hit the back button. Belgian Golden Strong Ale, 25C. Overall, a pale, complex, effervescent, strong Belgian style ale. Is highly attenuated, features fruity and hoppy notes, in preference to phenolics. Appearance, you're going to see a yellow to neutral gold in color. Good clarity, and this beer is crystal clear. Fantastic.
It's nice.
Effervescent, massive, long-lasting, rocking, often beady white head, resulting in characteristic Belgian lace on the glass as it fades. I keep refilling this glass, so I can't even confirm that yet now. But aromas, you should have a complex with significant fruity esters, moderate spiciness, low to moderate alcohol, and hop aromas. Esters reminiscent of lighter fruits such as pears, oranges, and apples. And I can see the pear one in this one. I'm now that I've read that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a pear. That's a very,
because it's not too sweet.
No, it's not apple at all. But I think that pear, moderate, low, spicy, peppery phenols.
You're finding it's a little floral.
Yeah. Highly carbonated, effervescent, characteristic ingredients: Pilsner malt with substantial sugary adjuncts. Sazer types hops or Styrian Goldings are commonly used. Belgian yeast strain is the number one with a bullet, producing those fruity esters, spicy phenols, and higher order alcohols. Often aided by slightly warmer fermentation temperature, fairly soft water. Spicing, not traditional if present. And it should be a background character, and most of that's going to come from the phenol payload of these yeasts. Yeah, so we're not adding spices. No spices were harmed in making this beer.
So the brewery was really founded in 1906. The current brewery.
Yeah,
and they've been making this beer since 1988.
Yeah.
So it's been some time.
And it shows up on the commercial examples for BJCP study. If you want to, wrap your tongue around the style.
Yep.
This beer is on that list, along with Brigand, Dual Tev, Duvel, Judas, Lucifer, Pierrot, Russian River, Damnation. All classic examples of a Belgian Golden Dark Strong Ale. If you're studying for the BJCP or just want to get a little bit of extra beer nerdery, drink this beer.
I love this one because
it doesn't suck, man.
It's a little higher in alcohol, and I like that.
Yeah, like I already kind of like have that warming alcohol sensation. Like, and
I think I took like 3 sips and I was like, "Woo,
that's up there." I want to slow down, but I don't know if I can.
Yep. There goes your watch.
This activates the Drinkus Moricus process in your elbow. Are you familiar with that? It's a nerve cluster right about the joint. It makes you pick the pint back up and put it towards your face. It's quite automatic, and if you smash it hard enough, you'll be thirsty. How about that?
There we go. You got to be ready for it.
Yeah. Jesus, this is good beer.
So, a little bit about my week. I'm watching my buddy's dog. It's a GSP, a golden German Shorthair Pointer. Full of energy. It's about a 40-pound dog.
It's about 80 pounds of energy in a 40-pound package.
Yeah, and he's agile and tall and just can run like the wind. And he's got the
tall 40-pounder.
He's got the hound dog nose and snout. So he's like smelling everything. He knows everything.
He's got his nose up in
on
it.
Point. Yeah, high energy, and that's what it's.
You wear your dogs out?
Yes, he wears me out. He's wearing my dogs out.
And your dogs are getting up there too. And in terms of age,
the girls don't have anything to do with it. I mean, Lila tries to play once in a while, but it doesn't always work.
She wants to.
Yeah.
You can tell. She just
and
can't
then he
do
just
it.
goes and zooms, and then pretty soon pizza's like,
I'm out.
Too much for me.
Tapping out. They're oddly quiet tonight. That makes sense. Then.
Yeah.
They're worn out.
Laying next to each other with their tongues on the floor.
Still catching their breath.
Yeah.
From a German short-haired pointer, is that what you called it?
German short-haired pointer.
We're getting some electro interference. Oh, it's probably my phone is
Oh, there it
over
is.
here.
Yep.
Yeah. My
We
apologies.
need a
out
Faraday
there.
bag for you.
Yeah, we do too. We do too. Yeah,
put
we
that
need
in.
lots of micro absorbent, absorbent cloths to spill all my beer spillage.
Right.
Yeah.
So I also thought I heard some news that we hadn't been talking about.
Oh, you're talking about the impending transfer of location for the
Yeah.
shop. That's right. I announced late last week that Northwest Brewer Supply is moving locations, but we're only moving 6 blocks away.
Okay.
It's
It's actually closer to me, maybe.
It is closer to you. Yeah. We'll be on the main drag on Fairhaven. 320 East Fairhaven is going to be the new address.
Okay.
That is also where I keep my spa there too. So I'm moving operations into my building. I love the space I'm in. It's got tons of room for growth. But right now, like the world it's a little rough out there for everybody. Ain't nobody got enough fucking money, and beer unfortunately has taken a kind of a hit on that. And it's not just homebrew. It's large scale operations are we just found out like Rogue Brewing in Oregon is closing its doors for financial reasons.
A lot of
we
these
lost
older
Boundary Bay in Bellingham.
a lot of these older breweries are going away.
Yeah, North Sound is changing ownership.
Are they changing
so-
ownership or no?
I don't think
they're changing ownership.
Temperate Habits is taking over operations.
Yeah,
there,
they're
but
not going to serve. Are they going to serve North
I'm not
Sound
sure.
Brewing's beer?
I'm not sure. I think some of the work is being done to maintain some of those brands. So maybe we'll be able to get some Hopsalicious or Hopsalute in the future. I don't have the details. I need to get into Temperate Habits and talk to Katie and company.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm like,
and talk
are
to
they gonna-
Kurt too.
Are they
yeah.
just going to come in and they'll just take over and I mean, why? I mean, in my opinion, like if I'm going to come in and take over a brewing space, if you're not there and you're not doing it, why am I making your beers in my house?
Well,
I'm
so
going to make my beers.
It sounds like Kurt's retiring and he's ready to be retired. So we'll see kind of what that translation. Maybe I'll get in and talk to Katie and go over there and talk to Kurt and get a better angle. But we see this kind of we're seeing this kind of thing all over the place.
It's a bad deal.
But
it's all about the shifting of the beers. I think one thing that is going away is the flagship style beers. I think
that's part of the problem. Actually,
I make these beers and I've been making them for 25 years and they're the same. And like nobody's going, I don't want to go back and drink that. I've been drinking this beer 10 years. I mean, there's other people out there making different kinds.
I think some of the novel. There's been a lot of novelty in since we had the New England IPA hit the marketplace and that's caused kind of like a rampant explosion.
Yep.
It's a divisive style. Some people love it. Some people fucking hate
all the
it.
hazy's, everybody's just putting something out and naming it different
Every other week.
It's just
then
crazy.
Then it became like we got the smoothie IPAs. We had some of those on the show, and that's
interesting.
Interesting is an interesting way to put it, as far as I was concerned.
I mean, it's just like drinking I would rather drink a slushy, than one of those smoothie beers.
I can see the argument being made that some of the rampant novelty in the beer landscape has sort of, it's taken the center stage, the new and the newest thing. That even if you liked last week's offering, we're going to drink the newest thing and last week's old news. Some of that novelty landscape, and I think that's
kind of where it's gone.
I think some of the wind has kind of gone out of that out of the sails on the novelty side of things, and I think some of the flagship brands, took a big hit and have suffered and maybe haven't been able to maintain market share.
When
for
you
those
come
beers.
up with a good beer, Boop, boop,
Yeah. Silence.
I
Damn
can't even
it.
get that high. When you get these big, when you come up with a good hazy, maybe now that could be something, maybe one of your staples for a year or two.
Right.
But I think that's about all the life.
Unless
the
you're like
shelf
Heady
life.
Top or Alchemist or
Right.
Treehouse Brewings, Julius,
Right.
like
Unless you're
like the big,
huge.
huge, like mega popular, mega delicious beers. I can see your point on that. Like, you got a good one for a minute, and then
Then everybody loves it, and everybody wants to move on.
You didn't adapt. You got to adapt to another thing.
Yeah, you have to adapt always.
And I think that's tiring, right? If you have to come up with a new hazy every other fucking month that sings louder and screams, screams harder than the last one.
You don't actually want to do that because you want to develop a good beer, a good hazy beer. You want to develop this good hazy beer, and you wanted to have it on your taps for 3-4 months because then that draws people into your place. Everybody starts to hear about it. Everybody's going to be like, "Oh, I need to get in here." So you give 3, 4, 5 months for people to get in, and then you pivot again.
I
and
see
you're
those
like, okay.
I see a lot of that as like short-term gains.
Kind of.
And so much of this gig is like you're playing a long game, right? Like you have to play a long game. You're making beer. Your efforts today
but you
are
can't.
not economically available for 2-3 weeks on a easy beer. Like you've got time in before that beer is even marketable, and then all of the marketing energy to talk about it, sell it.
If you have to make a large capacity, I mean, you need to concentrate on a brand.
Yeah, and you speak of capacity there. During the latter decade, we saw a lot of growth in craft, and they were expanding operations into multi license, multiple locations under the same license. Some with brewing operations, some that didn't. But they, if you didn't have brewing operations in the new location, you were increasing the scale of production in the old location, and some of that growth curve. We're not, it's not being satisfied right now.
Right.
The distilling industry,
you expanded too quickly, or
the marketplace just kind of like dissolved out from under you.
Dang.
I was talking to several distillers in Washington, and a lot of them haven't fired their machine, haven't run their hardware.
Right. There's a backlog of hard alcohol.
6 to 8 months, or to even like this year. So they're not even brewing actively.
But where
they're
are they
sitting
selling it? I mean, honestly,
they got a lot of inventory they're sitting on and trying to sell.
Is the only way to sell it is if I go out and visit their little distillery?
Right, you get into like distribution, and like distribution.
Now they're taking a shot on the profitability.
Yeah,
so,
you take there's a hefty bite to get into distribution. Like you lose dollars per ounce by going distribution.
Yeah, there almost has to be a new way to do all this to help all of the littler guys.
It's gonna be interesting going forward, and so we're seeing these kind of things, and we were talking about needing to move the shop, and these kind of economic drivers like I feel them too.
Right.
So
and you got to pivot, and you're gonna move and make it what you need.
It's exactly what we're doing. We're taking our energies
and
focusing on transition and staying relevant, staying up to date.
Do you have a cool new brew lab where you're gonna hold classes?
So the classes, the live classes are going to be a little more interesting. I could probably do something in a parking lot, fair weather parking lot size. I might have to rent a location, maybe at a park, or even maybe I'll talk to my current landlord about renting the classroom space.
I might have a shed.
Right? Like, yeah, we can do something cool. A lot of my classes, some of them will go online. I will have video demonstrations for each of the beer kits I plan on selling.
Yep.
So those are in scripting and storyboarding phase. I'll start filming on those very soon, and sort of build those along the way. But I plan on having some like live interactive forum space, like maybe it's a Discord server where we can talk about those beers, and class attendees or purchase. If you've watched the video,
yeah, but nothing's like coming to the shop and brewing a beer in your class.
It's a little bit. Yeah, and this space is a little bit smaller, and I have to be, that'll be a phase 2 kind of investigation.
I had an idea. Why don't we put my electric brewery in there somewhere?
We'll have
we can collaborate on it.
I'll have a much smaller footprint. You mean in the OG space?
No.
In the new space. The new space is going to be tight. I'm going to be a little bit tighter. I'm going to be a little more streamlined, a little more conscious about inventory. And,
But kind of what I was thinking was, if you go electric, you've got a lot more options for a tight space, for an interior area.
Yeah.
And now we can
start. The problem is that
looking at
the problem in that space is I don't have very many like exterior walls that I can vent to atmosphere. Like my the building we're going into, it's shuttered on either side with another building. Right? Yeah, it's all shared wall kind of like construction.
And you're not gonna do it on the top floor.
The second floor.
So you're limited to the back side, south side.
Yeah, or the front facing sides. Yeah.
You're going down in that little tiny storage. That's where your homebrew shop's gonna be.
It's not quite. No, we have a full retail
in the back door. In that back door,
right? Yeah. So we're gonna be a little bit smarter about inventory management and how to move things around. I get to buy a new grain mill, so I'm kind of excited about that. We're looking.
What are you gonna do with the current one?
Well, the current one I'm probably gonna sell off.
Okay. Keep me in mind. I might need it.
Okay. I sure will. I'll let you know. It's fine. It's just a big unit. It doesn't necessarily need to be that big for the volume that we're doing.
Oh, the one you're selling is bigger?
It's a monster mill with a big cabinet built around it, kind of thing. Because I've got a spot for like you can open a whole bag, 55-pound bag, right into the hopper and that's good. We get to, I have to do that periodically, but I don't have to do that every day.
Right. But if I order, 2 sacks of 2-row from you, is it going to cut? You're gonna mill it for me?
I can totally mill that for you.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
I'll still be able to do that stuff.
Heck yeah.
And it'll be quieter and less dusty, which is one of the major concerns I have about the current location. I'm chasing my tail for dust management practices. I mean, there's not a color that's safe to wear because I'm going to wear a lot of grain dust all day. And I worry about like
yellow, gray.
Yeah, like beige. If I can wear all beige, that'd be fine. The dust just gets everywhere. And currently when we have a big 220 volt air handler, like big wood shop.
But the dust still gets through that sack.
And I've got a MERS 13 air filter system that handles it, but it still doesn't keep up on all of it. So the new mill is gonna keep the dust in the bucket kind of thing, and we'll be able to manage and sweep up the rest.
Good.
And it has to be a little bit quieter because we do share the space with a spa.
So I'm coming over to brew on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
All right, and not in your new building. So this will be the one and only and last time I get to brew.
Potentially, yeah.
in your shop there.
Yeah, but it'll be good. We're excited. It's going to afford us a little more flexibility in terms of our overhead, which is really going to help.
Let's see. Would you happen to have like 8 by 10? An 8 by 10 space for a brew house?
In the new location, I'll probably have. I will have like a Connex box, like a storage container, in the back parking lot that'll handle a bunch of stuff. But as far as like a brew space, it might be it might be more of a pop-up outdoor kind of thing. Yeah.
In Mexico, a brewery called Sin Fronteras, No Borders. They were trying to brew out of a container in the back of the bar.
Yeah.
And they tried and they were going to do it. I think Eden, who's another brewer down there, I think he might have taken that over. I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen some interesting container builds for like drop off your brewery kind of thing.
Right.
And they went with like some vertical tank design that I thought was novel.
All right. I got an idea. Maybe we can collaborate and make a brewtainer.
We'll just have to get drunk and talk about that. That sounds like a plan with zero drawbacks.
Sounds like we're getting there right now.
Yeah. Well, we do have another topic. We do have a topic tonight.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Belgian beers. So why don't we do this? We'll take a little break. I think we got some beer news to share with you. We'll take a little break, pay some bills with some sponsorship, and we'll be right back and crack the
Thanks for joining
code
us.
on Belgians. Be right
Beer's
back.
30. Beer News with Andrew, where I come and give you international stories, national stories, state, maybe even your local backyard. Here we go again, Hopheads. How's it going today? This week we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. Curious about something that held over from Prohibition. We had an episode recently about Prohibition. What I want to talk about is dry counties in the U.S. In a country known for its craft beer culture and cocktail creativity, it might surprise you to learn that there are still 59 completely dry counties in the United States of America as of 2025. These are places where the sales of alcohol are entirely prohibited. No liquor stores, no beer at the grocery store, not even a glass of wine at dinner. So, what is a dry county? A dry county is a jurisdiction where the sale of alcoholic beverages is banned. This doesn't necessarily mean that alcohol is illegal to possess or consume, that you just can't buy it there. Some counties are moist. Yeah, great. Sorry about that. Allowing limited sales like in restaurants but not in stores, while wet counties permit full alcohol sales everywhere. I remember in the late 90s, I lived in Dallas, Texas, and it was a moist county, and you would go to the store and you had to buy this club card. I can't remember what the club was. It was just some club, some alcohol thing you had to be a part of in order for them to serve you any drinks with your meal. And it was $5 a year, and you needed to carry this card with you everywhere you went and show it to them. They didn't keep track of it. It was just some formality. Who knows? So, where are these dry counties located? Dry counties are mostly concentrated in the South and parts of the Midwest. The states with the most dry or partially dry counties include Texas. They're home to the largest number of dry and partially dry counties. Kentucky has a patchwork of dry, moist, and wet counties. Arkansas, nearly half of the state's counties are dry there. My word, don't go to Arkansas. Going over to Tennessee, they're dry by default. Counties must vote to allow alcohol sales. So I think some of them there are allowing it now, but it's dry by default. Mississippi, also dry by default, though. Many counties have voted to go wet. And then we're looking at Alabama, Kansas, Georgia, South Dakota. They also have some dry counties. So you'd ask yourself, why do these counties still exist? Well, the roots of the dry counties trace back to Prohibition era, 1920 to 1933, when alcohol was banned nationwide. And after Prohibition was repealed, many local governments retained the right to regulate those alcohol sales, and some chose to keep the ban in place, often for religious or cultural reasons. That led to some kind of declining trend. The number of dry counties have been steadily shrinking. Economic pressures, especially to the desire to attract tourism, restaurants, retail, everything, breweries, everything. They led to the communities to reconsider their stance on a dryness. In recent years, several counties in Texas, Kentucky, and Mississippi had voted to go wet. So, the irony of the day, interesting, some dry counties are located near major alcohol producers or popular destinations. For example, Lynchburg, Tennessee, home of Jack Daniel's whiskey, is a dry county. The distillery can produce and bottle whiskey, but you can't buy a drink in that county. So in short, dry counties are a quirky legacy of America's past, still shaping local culture and commerce in surprising ways. While their numbers are dwindling, they remain a fascinating reminder of how history lingers in our laws.
Welcome back to the Beercraft Homebrewing Podcast. Tonight we're talking about Belgian beers. We're not going to do like a deep dive in individual styles or something like that, but I want to kind of give you a primer. This time of year, Belgians get pretty popular. There's a lot of Christmas beers. Belgians, strong beers make sense during the holidays.
Strong malty beers.
So what can
kind
you...
of flavorful beers.
Yeah, and I kind of want to give you a primer on like what can you expect of these beers. If you're brand new to brewing or drinking Belgian beers, this is kind of what we're up against. One of the things that I think is most interesting about Belgian beers is they're not a rigid codified style of beer. I mean, yes, there are specific styles. Like tonight, we're drinking a golden strong ale. There's dark strong ales.
Between them all.
These kind of like style names. These have been more recent adoptions of how to classify some of the most popular beers in Belgium. Like Golden Strong, Dark Strong, Belgian Blondes, Farmhouse. You got your lambics and the like, and so we start to how do we classify these now that we've been brewing them for centuries, or they've been brewing for centuries in Belgium. But in Belgium, like prior to the adoption of some of these like codified names of styles, they were really just a part of the culture,
kind of terroir.
Right, like every town has a unique kind of climate and microfloral fauna. The microflora. So the yeast would express themselves very differently from town to town. So there wasn't really like a big codification because no two brewers in any two towns could produce anything like the same fucking beer. And so there's a lot of variability. In modern beer, we kind of try to narrow the focus a little bit, but that wasn't what we were doing. Stan Hieronymus wrote a fantastic book, Brew Like a Monk. If you want to get nerdy about Belgian beers, that's a fantastic one. I'm paraphrasing some of the excerpts here, but Belgian brewers didn't really set out to create styles. They brewed what the community expected and what their equipment, ingredients, and seasons allowed.
Yeah. What could they make at the time?
Right.
Maybe the harvest, what they had at the harvest. Maybe neighboring farmers would come and bring you a little bit of their wares.
We talked about like saisons being very seasonally dependent. That whole style. It comes out of Belgium as well.
Yep.
So yeah, we would see different harvest times, different fermentation temperature times. Absolutely. These yeasts do perform well in warm temperatures.
They do.
So this is a popular segment for the hot weather brewing as well, not just the holidays.
84.
Yeah, they don't care. Another great book on the topic, the Belgian Beer Book by Schallers and Bostil. They describe kind of like how some of those village breweries diverged simply because like no two towns could brew under the same conditions due to weather or microflora, any of these like 10,000 variables.
Well, it was before we knew what yeast was too. So the brewers are brewing with their brew paddle and they're kraussing it, and other methods.
How your neighbor learned to brew versus how you learned to brew
could be a little different.
Way different kind of processes.
The equipment, everything.
I think the idea of defining the definition of styles that came centuries later.
Yeah.
And so even talking about a specific style gets a little gray. We're drinking a Belgian Golden Strong partly because Delirium Tremens made such a fantastic brew.
Right,
we had to give it a name, and how does it fit in the style program?
And we made the style, and it's been consistent for many, many years.
The big takeaway for Belgian is yeast is the sole star of the show. We talked about malt for Germany, hops for the UK and the US. The Belgians said the yeast is our best friend. Let us express it in a million different ways through temperature. So, good yeast management. They would do things differently in Belgium. They would, ramp up the temperature to see how how she goes. What kind of flavors could we get out of her?
How's she getting it this time?
Yeah. Right. We're not obsessed with squeaky cleanness. We want character. We want soul. We want yeast
and we're going to
expression.
Find out what we can do with it.
Yeah. So that it is the primary flavor driver for these beers. So do not expect squeaky clean. We're going to treat esters and phenols like so much salt and pepper to make our beer taste better.
Right. Now, long ago, when they're brewing these beers in the farmhouses or wherever they're brewing at, they're using the same paddle, they're using the same equipment, they're using all that same, and all their beers are consistent because it's consistent. Now, as a home brewer, I'm cleaning all my stuff. I don't use my krausen, I don't use my paddle, I don't use that. I'm actually putting things in here.
Right. So your strain, you get into the wide world of the different Belgian strains that we can do.
So now I can do different flavor beers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think you could take any one of those strains, like 3522 Belgian Ardennes, one of my favorite strains on the planet. But if I ferment at the low end of the range versus the mid range versus
I get different
the high range. I get completely different.
Yeah.
I get a different expression at every temperature range. So it affords me the opportunity to say, hey, my Belgian blonde was pretty good with 35-22 at 64 degrees. What does it taste like at 84? Right now, and I start scratching my head vigorously and plotting a brew day just to find the answer to that question.
Yeah, that sounds fun to me.
And delicious. That's such a great
I mean,
God, I love it.
If we wanted to, we could just like, what is it? Party guile.
Party gal, yeah.
And
That's
separate,
a whole thing. Yep.
Separate our stuff. Do a little different mash temps.
Yeah.
Or different ferment temps.
Absolutely.
See that.
8.5%.
I'm already drinking the whole thing.
Jesus
I
Christ,
can't
yeah.
figure out between mash and ferment now. Wow. Anyways.
So yeah, the Belgians, they're kind of their own thing. And balancing all of those flavors and nuances thing, that, kind of has its own fucking rules. Like we're not looking at like bitterness units versus gravity units, kind of balancing point. Like Ray Daniels Designing Great Beers kind of gives us a primer on bitterness as a function of gravity for an individual style. Belgian beers, man, they're letting the yeast, the malt, all the acids, they're letting them take the lead, and as long as it stays drinkable,
it's good.
It's fucking good. Let it do its thing.
They're pumping this golden strong. They're pumping more 2-row into this, or if they're using 6-row or whatever.
Pilsner malts,
to bump up that.
Well, I think they use a lot of
Sort of
specialty sugars.
Are they?
Yeah, so you'll see like Belgian candy sugar
I've
used
seen that before.
a ton to raise the ABV without adding additional malt complexity. They're not taking it like malt bomb like an Oktoberfest. They want 8.5%. How do we keep it light and dry and drinkable? Well, we throw a bunch of simple sugars.
Ooh, bless you.
Yeah, that beer says hello.
So we throw a bunch of simple sugar in there, and now these yeast eat that, bam, through clean.
Super easy to get through those sugars. 100% fermentable.
Yep, and they leave their esters behind with that. Super
Absolutely.
Delicious.
Right. So we even get like some of these Trappist guys. It's interesting to know. You talked about like repeatability. Some of those Trappist breweries, these monasteries full of monks, selling beer to supplement that, to give them an income so they can afford to buy the bread that they have to feed everybody with in a centuries old dusty ass castle.
And they have to
that's an expensive.
They have to afford to buy the barley to make the bread and the beer.
But just being in a monastery, these centuries old stone buildings, that's a very expensive upkeep, just to keep that, just to keep the wind from blowing through the fucking walls or keep the rain from falling on your head. So brewing became a source of income. But some of these guys got really, you were talking about like repeatability. They went as far as like some of these Trappist breweries, they haven't dusted the brew house in 700 years. They don't have windows in the brew house because they're dependent on the microflora and fauna falling into an open fermenter to give that beer its unique characteristics.
Right.
To the degree that like the spider that hangs above the cool ship dropping bits of fly debris into the beer is
and its old webs,
really fucking important to the final beer
of its food.
Man, that is like, it's such an abstraction to modern homebrew or modern brewing practices being squeaky clean operations, like rivaled in terms of sanitation too. Right, but we're rivaling the sanitation protocols of a modern dairy farm,
course, right.
Just to keep our beer safe for human consumption. But these guys went the complete fucking opposite route and said,
okay,
no, it's important.
Right. It used to be important, and it was important back then.
But they still, some of these places, they still brew that.
Do it, and they should.
Yeah.
Right, because it's been a tried and true.
Tradition.
Yeah. So I can't do that though because I don't have that microflora in my garage.
We don't.
I have really weird microflora in my garage, like
probably
rats,
not the delicious kind either.
Cat hair, rat hair, dog hair.
Yeah. I probably won't. You remember Rogue Brewing? They did that beard beer. Yeah. I probably wouldn't like. If you served it to me and then told me about it, it would be a very different reaction than just telling me about it and giving me the beer. I never got to try that one.
I didn't either. I heard about it a lot. But no way. No way. So, talking about Trappist and the Abbey, the different types of these beers. We have what, 4 of the different beer, different types of families in
you can kind of
Belgium.
So without like rigid codification of style, you can kind of there's like 4 kind of like groups of Belgian beers. So the first one, Trappist and Abbey. These were
the monastery.
These were monastic beers. So we get some of these like stronger ones. Like you would fast during Lent, but you could drink a beer. So they made
Really
rich
strong,
beers to sustain
alcohol,
you.
Low alcohol,
maybe not so low alcohol, but you needed the calorie payload of the beer to get you through till the end of the day.
I think they probably made low
like
ABV for them and then high ABV for.
I think they made just. You get into something like the singles and doubles and triples and stuff. Some of those are, like they go up in strength, but some of those names are really about like taxation purposes. Like I can charge more and I have to pay more taxes.
Wait a minute, they're not a 501c back in. What are these abbeys?
I know, right? Like that's fucking crazy.
They're taxed. You mean the king is taxing God?
Yeah. Well, like the crown or the governor or whoever's in charge has been historically interested in taxing alcohol because otherwise it looks like a license to print fucking money, and they want some of that fucking money.
They want the money.
So stuff like your favorite 1516 beer purity law was more about taxation of beer than it was about purity of beer. In fact, 90% of that document is about tax purposes.
It's control.
I think it's interesting.
Control of the brewing supply chain.
Exactly. So we got the Trappist and Abbey guys doing their thing. They've been doing it for centuries. They're not changing it.
Then we got farmhouse.
Right.
Okay.
What everybody else like most of human history, homebrewing was beer. That was just it. Modern modern commercial operations in beer only go back as far as like 1450-ish. The Middle Ages is where we start like really industrial, like creating larger scale brewing operations. It's a modern in terms of human history. Like the 10,000 years of civilization that we've been making beer. Modern or the commercial operation of beer is rather infant. So the farmhouse brewing is pretty much just everybody else. Whatever we did with what was season, what was in season, what did I have, and what kind of yeast could I get and throw at it.
And what did I grow?
And sharing my yeast.
What did I grow that year? What I grew on my farm. Yeah.
So saisons are kind of those classic examples, those farmhouse
love those
tradition.
And all kind of mixed stuff in there.
Speaking of mixed, you get your spontaneous ferments and your mixed culture ferments, right? The Abbey tradition wasn't about pitching yeast, but letting yeast fall into the vat, and that's what made the fucking
spontaneous.
Beer. Yeah.
Now, how do we get the mixed out of this?
Well, the mixed fermentation, sometimes it was a mixture of older, sour, older, maybe soured ferments with younger. Younger examples.
From the vessel.
So
the vessel.
And maybe the young one would balance out the tartness. And we see this in like Flanders Red, Old Bruin, those kind of beers. We got a young, even like a classic English brown ale is often a mixed ferment
culture,
with an older version and a younger version for Newcastle fans, or the OG Newcastle was an old beer and a young beer blended and bottled
mixed
and shipped
together.
To you. Lagunitas changed that platform when they acquired the brand. Sad face, I miss the old one because the new one just don't hit the same.
Nope.
But
thought they could make the beer right without mixing it.
Right.
Can't do that.
Yeah, neat idea.
Okay.
Lambics are a classic example of kind of like spontaneous or brewed in a very specific space with a very specific microflora that doesn't appear elsewhere. This is kind of like you've heard of like sourdough bread, like the San Francisco sourdough versus the Alaskan sourdough versus like a New York or something like that.
Oh yeah.
The way the
Seattle sourdough.
Yeah, but it's the way the local climate affected the starter and changed it over time and into a repeatable, distinctive
terroir
flavor of your bread. Yeah, terroir is a huge one.
Huge deal in all this.
So lambics, like we can't make a lambic outside of these regions because the microflora is different. Even if we have a similar yeast or a monoculture yeast, we can get kind of like interesting notes that are reminiscent of a lambic, but to be a lambic really does mean to like brew in those spaces and places. And that's far beyond like regional laws, like the protected like Stilton
Champagne.
can only be, Champagne is a classic one, can only be in the Champagne region of France. Stilton can only be in England.
Is it
Port
bourbon
can
or
only
is it
be
whiskey?
in Portugal. Right. Yeah. Scotch can only be in Scotland.
Scotch.
That's sort of like regional brand protection for some of these products, whereas lambic is all about like, oh no, the biology of this region dictates the final product. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. So then there's the fourth category, cafe or everyday kind of beers, pale ales to wit beers. Belgian cafes built their identities around local favorites rather than kind of like a national codified style. It's like, well, this town likes it this way.
Like I
and
wonder
so
how
we brew
close
it
these
way.
are to the farmhouse beers. You know?
They're probably in the same kind of
the same
lineage.
category, right?
Yeah.
They're making these maybe for more of the masses rather than like, this is my farmhouse
you would
ale
see
I'm
kind of
making
like
from my
you would see kind of like
region or
a
something.
microbrew sized setup in a community serving the local favorite flavor du jour throughout the year. And that's kind of those cafe, meaning like cafe also often kind of gets used as small as or a synonym for small operation versus the macro larger kind of DuPont Saison making fucking
I like that
6,000
rather than nano. I like cafe.
Right? I think cafe is like a little bit better
cafe
than nano.
brewery. But then everybody thinks that you're after
making
like
fucking coffee. Yeah.
Dang it.
So we mentioned sugar earlier. Sugar is kind of like definitely more of a precision tool for these beers.
Highly fermentable.
Increasing attenuation, drying out the finish for extra drinkability. The point
gets out of the way.
Yeah, according to Hieronymus in his Brew Like a Monk, the point of sugar is to lighten the beer. It dries the finish, raises the strength without adding weight to the final. Like we're drinking today.
It doesn't add any malt to it.
Right. So no extra heavy.
Right.
You talk about like big malty beers, they have kind of a weight on the palate too.
Yep.
And this is kind of like
They weigh
chicken
down.
stock versus chicken broth.
Right.
These beers, some of these Belgians, we want more of the chicken broth finish,
Right,
but we
rather
want the
than stock.
ABV. We want all the ABVs.
ABV of the stock.
This delirium tremens, like it is light on my tongue. It is like alcoholically warming as I drink the first sip.
You still have some of
I
that?
have a little
Oh
bit
my
left.
gosh.
I'm kind of like trying to like get through the fucking show here. Like
I needed another one.
yeah,
Maybe not.
Yeah, these were like $6.50 each. It was not a horrible. I was like, I'm gonna pay that again if I see it.
It's like what you'd pay in the bar almost. $7,
Right?
Nah, probably for this.
But if a bar had this on tap, I'd go there
you'd
more
be
often.
there.
Yeah. So some of those like Duval, the strength of that beer comes from like really delicate sugar additions, and the ferment. Of course, the fermentation gives it that kind of like, God, that they're highly effervescent. Like so, highly attenuative yeast meets a big sugar for priming, and you get kind of those like champagne. Kind of expression that Duval like it is the champagne.
Temperature can be higher.
Fuck Coors. The champagne of beer is Duval. I'll say it right here. Coors with fuck. Now that being said, Coors does package their beers at like 3 volumes of CO2 versus say 2.5 for pretty much 2.3 to 2.5 for pretty much all the other rest of the beers out there.
The banquet beer.
Yeah, it is highly effervescent. Like you drink that, and all of that carbonic acid like prickles your tongue all day. So I get where they're coming from, but Duval was the first one, guys. Sorry, Golden, Colorado. Sorry, you missed the boat
Almost
by about
like champagne.
700 years.
Coors isn't even champagne-y.
Hopping is definitely not the star of the show.
Understated
for these Belgian
no
beers.
Hops. Understated hops is the way to go.
Yeah, not a lot. You can
I don't
see
even
beers
wanna
with
have any
like
flavor of
with
hops
just
in there.
bittering additions. Not a lot of
Your bittering addition is only going to go to balance out whatever
the
style
sugary,
you're going to make.
or the and maybe you don't have to bitter as much because you don't have the big malt backbone that you have to balance.
Right.
So we can be a little more
For adding our-
frugal.
For adding our
perhaps without-
sugar,
yeah.
it's not going to leave this malt sweetness to it, so it's going to dry it out a little more. So we don't have to use as much hops.
So, and the hops that were used in Belgium, they prefer more of like a delicate hop varieties that support rather than compete with the yeast. We want something to like this plays second fiddle really well, plays all those harmony notes. So Sauser type, the Styrian Goldings, you see that all. Styrian Golding shows up in like
get out of the way.
9 out of 10 Belgian beer recipes. I see Styrian Goldings.
Yeah, because it's really
also known
mild.
as Celia under certain brand conditions. Celia is the trademark name for that. But so if you're looking for Styrian Goldings and all you can find is Celia, it is the same fucking thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of your noble varieties are going to play, the star of the show. We want those kind of earthy herbals and stuff.
Right. Because they're gonna just offer just that tiny bit of what you need.
We still need, we need them. We're still balancing malt flavors. We still are worried about preservation of these beers long term. So hops are still reigning, still a necessity.
They're an important part
for those beers, but they're definitely,
and how you use them is going to be
harmony rather than melody.
Important. I mean, we need them, but how you use them is going to be more important. So this color thing.
Yeah, so color, it can be kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
From golden from pale gold to
a
Belgian dark strong, like the Roquefort 8. Again, so dark it's purple. But none of those color elements are signaling you as a potential drinker as to what the beer might taste like. Like I look at, so we have a beer kit, the Roquefort 8 we call it, and it's modeled after the classic Roquefort 8, which is a Belgian dark strong ale. It is inky black, but it doesn't have the roast characteristics so often found in dark beers.
Like a stout, yep.
Yeah, it is a beautifully balanced little like Belgian, ester and phenol tickle without being... It's still not beating you over the head like, maybe like a lambic, like, oh boy, what is it doing in my mouth? So it's nice, it's delicate,
I like that,
but it's rich and it finishes dry and goddamn just makes you want to drink more of it. Now, that's a classic beer. Like, it's one of those like Roquefort 8. If you're doing BJCP study guides and you're looking at Belgian strong, go get that beer.
Now, what kind of a dark grain are you using in that?
Dark grain, usually like debittered or huskless, either wheat, so wheat has a husk, rye has a husk, like barley, but it falls off if you look at it. Mm-hmm. Unlike my first girlfriend, who kept her clothes on the whole. Anyways, never mind. Scratch that. Never mind.
Dang, man!
Barley has
the wrong husk.
Barley has a really like firm husk. It's adhered well to the kernel. But if we remove it,
she had a firm husk.
Yeah, if we remove that husk material from barley, and you'll see this in like Carafa series. You'll see this in Black Prince malt.
Yep.
All of that has its husk removed. And a lot of that bitterness and roastiness and kind of acrid qualities of dark malts, it's in the husk. So if we get rid of it, it's not there. So or using like Midnight Wheat, which is a really dark wheat, dark rye will give you color without that roast kind of character.
Right. That's what you're after right there.
Yeah. So you can get a lot of we also use in the Roquefort 8 it's a 180 Lovibond Belgian candy sugar, and it's inky black as well.
Too.
Oh yeah, it's black sugar.
How much does that? That probably doesn't add too much of a.
It's a good color element. It's a decent one because I can't recall, but the dark malt payload in that beer is not as much as you'd see in like a stout, because you got the D180 doing a lot of mileage on that.
Right.
It ferments out completely, but it's black.
It leaves some color in there.
Yeah. So whether it's a pale or it's an amber or a dark, often these are little about flavor. They're just kind of like, oh, what is the color palette I want to play with? How can does it look cool in my glass? Does it make me want? Does it intrigue me visually? Right. How can I play with this? And so there's kind of like a little more thoughtful color addition.
Just like a brown ale.
Well, brown was like the default position for thousands of years, right? Yeah. All beer in the beginning was brown.
We're trying to color this. Maybe you want to get a little orangey
or even like darker. Like pale beer is a modern invention. It's only a couple hundred years old.
Yeah.
Black beer is also a modern invention. In fact, we got pale beer before we got black malts, and like, oh my god, this is kind of definitely changed some things.
Well, we had to invent a roaster
so we
first.
got to like, now we get a full color palette to play with in our beers, and I think the Belgians are definitely a little more like, it's a little more artful in the color selection process.
Add some candied
Less
sugar
about
to this.
like
Dark malts.
the grain constituents of a Munich malt or of an Oktoberfest make it kind of an amber mahogany. Like your stylistically appropriate grains to choose from lend to those amber mahogany beers by default. The Belgians said, well, I can do it with pale, but what if I make it black? and would you drink more of it? Let's find out. Kind of questions. And that's kind of cool.
I would drink more of it.
Yeah. Blending is a big fucking thing. I want to talk about, scratch that. Let's not talk about blending. I want to talk about glassware in Belgian beers.
Okay. We have a few different glassware
we've
used,
so many.
like a tulip glass or I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of like a regular glass, regular kind of a wine glass on a stem. Is a regular wine
Goblet-y kind of.
Yeah.
Basically, just about every beer style, Belgian beer style has its own distinctive glassware. Like if you're trying to round out your beer glass collection, you would need a whole extra cabinet or four just to house the Belgian category. Like Germany's got like the Stange, and they've got the tall Hefeweizen glasses, and they got the English have a couple of different pint glasses. You got
of different pints,
your
one with the
Nonic
bubble
pint,
and all that.
the Churchill pint's one of my favorite. That's like kind of like.
Whoa!
It's kind of like that pineapple-y looking pint glass.
And the Kolsch glass is
the Stange in Germany. Yeah, the 8-ounce cylinder.
Yep, that's a good
you
one.
get some specific
that,
beers. Yeah, you get some specific glasses for specific beers in just about every culture.
Now, tell me how many I'm
took
looking at for these Belgian beers.
Listen, the Belgian brewers match the glass to the beer. It's as much a part of the beer. Of how the beer expresses itself, from ranges of goblets in every shape,
different
and
designs of how the effervescence comes out of the glass into your nose.
Yeah, God, how many different glasses are there? How many different Belgian kind of fucking beers are there? Well, again, we've only recently codified various styles of Belgian beers, so you could have an infinite amount of specialty glassware. They get like local specificity, like
the local glassware
the East
maker
Bank of the river has one glass for this beer, and the West Bank has a fucking another one.
Because he didn't know how to make that glass over there. This guy had this glass.
That one guy in town knew fucking how to make the glass, and that's the glass he made.
Right.
And the brewers match the beer to it,
and then
the rest is history. Yeah. But I think it's really cool.
That's
there's
really
a lot of cool glassware in Belgium, and it's very cool,
hilarious.
very important.
All right, we're about to wrap up here.
So I hope this gives you kind of like an overview of what the Belgian experience could be.
Right.
I want you to embrace a little bit of that, the experimentation and exploration of what one yeast can do. So grab a Belgian strain and brew with it several times at every single temperature iteration you can manage.
Right.
And
If you
see what kind of beers you can make with that.
If you do the same recipe 4 times a year at each season, you're gonna do it at a different temp. It's gonna kind of be normal, the same you do. Keep it in your closet or whatever.
You're going to end up with 4 different fucking beers off the same payload.
And you're going to figure out which one you like best. And
it
you
really
probably
is.
are going to like all 4 of them.
Because I've done things like, I've got a Belgian blonde recipe that I did split batch fermentation with 3522 and 1762, which is a little more like traditional for the style, and tradition being like a modern interpretation of the style. And I had to taste them side by side, and like they were both good. But if I had options for the 3522, I would drink that every time. That beer was shiny and brilliant. It was just kind of like a Leffe blonde clone that I dumbed down to like 6%. And shut the hell up, it came out. Like bubble gum and beautiful. And God, it just made me... God, I'm thirsty. I got to go brew. Well, that's going to be it, I think,
brewing.
for the show here today. I hope you guys found it informative and enjoyable. And stick around next week.
Walk down the Belgian path.
You know, we are still trying to get my buddy Josh, who works at the shop with me, in here. We've got a lineup to drink some vertical, some of the vertical series from Stone Brewery from like 2000 that came out between 2000 and 2010.
And there's
or
stouts.
2012.
And then there's stouts.
They got some. I got three. I got 3 of 12 or 3 or 4 of 12 this year. I don't have the whole lineup.
Okay,
that would be cool. So if somebody wants to bring some of those, that'd be cool. Wouldn't
that'd be cool. Bring it by.
Yeah. I missed a few of them when they were fresh, so now I get to drink them ages later. But we'll be back next week with a whole new show.
That is for sure.
We'll talk about some more beer nerd shit.
Thank you for joining us.
This has been another episode of the Beercraft Homebrewing Podcast. Thanks so much.